Okay, let's look at momentum ranking because momentum ranking tells you which stock has done well in the past 6 months or 3 months. And while momentum ranking is important, the real trick is to get into a momentum stock right at the beginning of the momentum. But still, momentum ranking can help you in finding out which stocks were holding up well and what is happening to them. So, in order to understand that, let's look at a 6 months momentum ranking and then we'll look at a 3 months momentum ranking. So, let's go and see this. So, momentum ranking. Now, there are many ways to do momentum. The easier ways I'm going to show you. And for doing momentum ranking, essentially, momentum ranking is applied on some sort of a watch list, right? And you have some sort of a watch list on which you apply momentum ranking. So I have this watch list which I created, which is US common stocks, American depository receipts, and because you need a liquidity, means like you need the stocks to trade certain number of shares at least. So I have a liquidity criteria which is minimum liquidity of 100,000 traded in the last 3 days, and stocks priced about $3. And this is depending on your preference. You can make this $5 $10 also, right? So essentially you get 3037 stocks in this particular thing. Now in order to find 6 months momentum, we want to rank these stocks by 6 months momentum. As we started saying, look, and a momentum ranking is what we want to do. So for momentum ranking, what I want to do is I want to look at uh, show you how 6 months ranking you can do. And when you do a 6 months ranking also, you have to understand, look, and that 6 months ranking is not going to capture some of the stocks which had very high momentum couple of months ago, and then they're going sideways, right? And basically, so you want to capture, when you want to do momentum, you just don't want to do one single momentum ranking. What you want to do is a layered kind of a momentum ranking so that you can find stocks which are currently highly ranked by momentum. You also want to find stocks which were highly ranked by momentum 1 month or 2 months ago. And you also want to find stocks which have just started having momentum. So, a combination of momentum approach, if you use, then you're not likely to miss out on any big move. So, in order to do this, what we'll do is we'll create a certain kind of a sorting column, and that's how momentum is typically used. So this is a sorting column which looks for a 6 months momentum. Now, if you look at this is C by average C126, and because it's difficult to see on this particular thing because of the typeface are so small, so we'll go and basically look at it here so that you can see what it really is trying to capture, right? And so what we are looking for here is a way of calculating momentum using a ratio of price to its 6 months moving average. So C stands for today's price, average C126 stands for average price of last 126 days basically. So this is one of the most commonly used way of calculating momentum for a 6 months momentum, which is basically um, easier way to find which stocks are strong. So if you take that particular kind of a momentum approach today and sort these stocks, what you're going to find is AERs. Obviously, it's a stock which has been very strong, right? And basically, so that's number one ranked stock. And when you see anything which is going like this, that indicates it's a buyout, right? And basically, so you have biome, you have fusion. So you have already stocks starting to emerge with momentum, like some of these stocks. Again, that's a buyout, but like you have these biotechnology stocks which are already starting to emerge uh, with momentum. Whenever you see things like this, those are buyout, these are buyouts, and you can mark buyouts so that you know where these are like in buyouts. Now you see Dawn Technologies, a new momentum stock which is emerging, and the move started with a big bang volume. The volume was 49 million on its breakout, and it started right basically, and so on and so forth. So basically, as you keep going down, you'll see that you look at some of the stocks which are emerging in terms of momentum, and most of them or some of them are Chinese stocks or they are medical and mm, biotechnology stocks. Like here, you have a stock which has emerged. Now, here is the thing: momentum ranking is going to tell you, okay, look at where this stock is ranked. Currently, it is ranked 20, but it doesn't tell you where the good buy point was, or it doesn't give you a signal. But while having momentum burst kind of a signal would tell you that look, and this was probably a buy on this particular day. So as you can see, this was a signal, right? So MDT, which is what we call momentum ranking, basically, is one way of ranking stock, which will tell you quickly which stocks are gaining momentum, right? And these are all the stocks which have gained momentum in the last 6 months, and they are now near their high, like the Stal Education, right? And some of them are Chinese, some of them biotechnology, most of them are biotechnology stocks which are already showing momentum. Again, you'll see stocks showing momentum, right? So this is 6 months momentum as calculated as of today, right? And as basically, but what happens is stocks have momentum for 6 months and then they go sideways. Many times they are going to go sideways for a month, 2 months. They form a base. From that, they have another momentum move. So, in order to capture those stocks, when you're doing this kind of a momentum ranking currently, when you're doing this ranking by this momentum criteria, what you're doing is you're looking at current ranking, but you don't know what was the rank a month ago. So, in order to do that, what is called as an offset momentum. Offset momentum is basically what you do is you calculate a momentum 6 months ago. So it is offset by no, you calculate a 6 month momentum a month ago. So it's offset by a month. So that way, if the stock had a very high momentum, but it goes sideways, when a stock goes sideways or pullbacks little, its momentum ranking can drop. So a stock which was ranked very high 1 month ago, it doesn't show up when you do a momentum ranking using something like C by average C126. So in order to find those kind of stocks, what you can do is you can create an offset. And to create an offset, again, I'm going to take it from here and show it to you on the other sheet so it's easier to see. So when you do this, what you want to do is you're looking for a stock which had a high momentum 25 days ago. So C25 is priced 25 days ago. So it's basically the same ranking but which was calculated 25 days ago. And this is how like and basically uh, TC2000 works. So if you want to find something which is 25 days ago, you put it with 0.25. So when you look at this ranking and so observe this very clearly, AERC didn't have a very high ranking, but some other stock will have a very high ranking. It's very important to understand this concept of momentum. So here you have a stock which has a very high 6 months momentum, and now in the last 1 month, which was ranked number one, right, by momentum just 25 days ago. So if you go and calculate momentum, say 25 days ago, approximately this is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, 25. So if you ran this particular scan on that particular day, on this particular day, you would have found RCMT as the number one stock. Now, this stock has not broken down. This stock is going sideways, right? These are the kind of stocks which can make a second, third leg of move. So, you want to find stocks like this. So, in order to find that, you create another column which is basically C25 by average C126.25. Now, this allows you to find stocks which are going sideways, forming bases, or if you are a fan of like IBD, then the stocks which will form cup with handle or like things like that. It will also show you stocks which had high momentum couple of days ago or a month ago and which are breaking down. So you can see what is breaking down. If you go through this ranking, you will clearly see stocks which are ranked very high, the oil and gas stocks, they are all, most of them are starting to break down, right? And so if you're looking for shorting, you can find stocks which are very strong, which are just about beginning to break down. As you can see, the coal stocks and oil and gas stocks, they're all breaking down now, right? Or they are pulling back. Hard pullbacks are happening on those stocks, and they were ranked very high by momentum. And that's why it's very important to understand. A lot of time, I see people saying those stocks which hold up well are the one which keep on going up. Show me a research which tells you that look, and that is true when at the bearish market bottom that happens. So the stocks which are going to hold up well are not necessarily the stocks which are holding up well were the oil and gas stocks. And when the market has started bouncing back a little bit, they are not the stocks which are leading, as you saw when you saw the MDT ranking. And this is why you never believe in the market anything which somebody tells you. You should always do your own research and find out whether it is true, because when you try and do that, you're not going to be putting your money on some wrong concepts and ideas. And if you don't believe that, go and look at 2008 2009, What stock made the biggest moves coming out of the bottom? The stocks which made the biggest move coming out of the bottoms were stocks like Select Comfort Mattress Company, Hertz, the Avis budget rent a car, and you had some other rental car companies, and they were all beaten down to death. They're all beaten down to death. Some of the REITs were beaten down to death, and they made 60, 70,000% move. Or some of the Chinese stocks coming out of 2001, 2002 bottom. You can again check this for yourself. You'll see stocks like NetEase, Sina, and many of the Chinese stocks which were down 80, 90%. They were the one which made move. They didn't had a momentum. They didn't had a momentum. So always check whether what somebody is saying is true, because it's very easy to believe things when somebody tells you, and base your trading based on that, but always confirm that. So here you will see that some of the stocks which are up, they're all going down. So this is very useful information, because stocks which don't go down then can have a second leg. So you can see what was like in a 1 month ago making a move, right? Now, can you create this for a longer duration? Yes. If you want to create this for 2 months period, you can also create it for a 2 months period, right? And basically, so you can just add a column. So that way, like if you want to have a base of more than 1 month, a 2 month base kind of a thing, then you can just put in a column and convert change this formula to 2 months. 2 months is approximately 50 days, right? So you change this formula to 50 days, and you'll find stocks which had high momentum 50 days ago. But always remember, whenever you're doing this second figure cannot be greater than 126. If you try and do that, it will not work basically, or it will not give you a correct result. So it has to be some figure which is less than this 126 figure. So if you do this, and we call this like an SAMDT 50 now, what you're going to get is a ranking of stocks which 50 days ago, 50 trading days ago, were ranked number one. So RCMT was still a stock which was ranked number one. Let me just double check the formula. Yeah, RC 126. Yeah, correct. So, and so here VTNR, right? And so if you want looking for a longer term basis, then you can find things using this particular approach, right? Now, similarly, means you can use this ranking to find stocks which are down a lot also, right? And if you use this particular ranking, and you will find that the stocks, oh, I think we had a wrong sorting, right? And this was the stock. I'm sorry, and this was the stock which was up ranked number one. Now what happened to it? It has given up all the gains, right? And this was the stock which was ranked number one 50 days ago. It has given up all the gains, right? Voyager. So stocks ranking 50 days ago, those stocks are no more leading, right? And the stocks which were holding up well 50 days ago, most of them are now going down. Some of them have just started to break down, right? And so this is what you see. But similarly, what you can see is using this ranking, you can also see weak stocks. So if you rank by MDT to the reverse side, you can see stocks which are extremely weak. You have Loyalty Venture, which is or you had like Carvana, which is ranked number two, number three, Hydrofarm Holding, and some of these stocks were going up, but now they are in a downward move. Marathon Digital or Iris Energy. So you can use momentum ranking both on a bullish side and on a bearish side, basically. And sometimes when you are looking at these kind of rankings, right, and you will get a good understanding of how the market actually behaves as against what people claim it behaves. That a lot of stocks, especially in the bearish market, at some stage, stocks which had very low momentum ranking by 6 months, they will stop going down, right? And they will basically start bouncing back. Like here, you have this bounce which has happened, which is almost 174% bounce, right? And so what happens is if you do it and if you look at ranking by 25 days ago and look at stocks, what you'll see is at some stage the stocks stop going down and they start bouncing back. And these bounces can be very, very hard bounce, right? These bounces can be quick bounces of 25 to 30% very quickly. The stocks which are beaten down in the first phase of the turn in the market are the one which tends to bounce back the hardest, basically. So you'll see again and again like in a big bounces which will be happening into those stocks, basically. So you can also like look at where what is happening to the stocks which are going down and look at opportunities. Similarly, the stocks which were like really weak 50 days ago, they were ranked lower. They are already like many of them are up 40-50%, right? And basically see here, these are stocks which are ranked very low, right? So always understand momentum in nuances and details, because when you understand momentum in nuances and detail, you'll find opportunities at different levels of momentum cycles, like you see here. This was the last ranked stock by momentum, right? And now if you are one of those person who's always believes that you only should focus on stocks with low, extremely high momentum, here the stock made like 110% more, and now it is still, yesterday also it was breaking out, right? So using momentum ranking or understanding momentum ranking and going through these stocks which have momentum every day, and in order to do that successfully, you can focus on like going through a stock with the momentum, top 50 or 100 stocks by momentum every day. Similarly, you can do it by MDT 120, 25 or MDT 50. It tells you where the money is flowing and what is happening in the market, which stocks are holding up well. Now, this is a 6 months base period. Now, if you want a faster way of knowing momentum, if you want to find fast way of finding momentum, because 6 months is a longer time period, especially in markets which are becoming faster and faster. So you want to quickly find a stock which has established a momentum, and you want to catch second part of the leg or third part of the leg. Then what you can do is you can create a momentum ranking based on 65 days. 126 days is like a 6 months. uh, Half of that is around 63, so 65 is just a compromise in terms of like looking at many people consider 260 days as trading days, and 130 is then 6 months, and 65 is 1 quarter. But whether you make it 63 or 65 doesn't matter. But in order to create a momentum ranking of 3 months, what you can do is you can create a momentum ranking, slightly modified momentum ranking. There are many ways to do momentum, and if you go to my free blog, there is a lot of information about various ways in which you can create momentum. So this is a 3 months momentum. This is 3 months momentum, which is looking for average C7. So the average of 7 days price divided by average of 65 days price. Typically, in order to calculate momentum ranking, a ratio is used. The ratio, or ROC as it is called, rate of change, is essentially a ratio of either a price to a moving average, or it is a ratio of some days of average price to some days of average price. So I'm using a momentum ranking using TI65. Now, when you use TI65 as a ranking, what you're going to see is you're going to see stocks which have quickly gained momentum in recent time, right? And they may not be ranked very high by MDT ranking, but you can still find at the start of the advantage of a momentum like this is you'll be able to quickly find the momentum. Now, this is all what I'm showing you is a relative ranking of momentum. Relative ranking of momentum is telling you relative to other stocks in the market, where is this stock ranked. Okay, so it's a relative rating basically. It's like as if you go to an island and you have people who are like all 7 feet plus, and then you make them stand in a queue by height. You're relatively looking at who is taller than 7 feet person taller, right? And here, uh, if you really want to make money, try and learn the concept of absolute momentum. Like here, this green signal which you see here, right, will tell you where absolute momentum turned green. And that's not something which I'm going to cover in this video, but I have already a video on absolute momentum. Look at absolute momentum, because absolute momentum will tell you where this momentum phase started. So you can quickly find stocks by using absolute momentum. But using momentum ranking itself is good enough. And again, using TI65, what you can find is which are the strongest stock in the last 1 quarter, right? While the market is doing its own thing, you have stocks which have momentum, right? So, and you can find momentum quickly using these kind of ranking methods without like basically putting in too much effort or paying too much for any this thing. This software cost around $25 a month, I think. So, and you can find which stock is gaining momentum. Like this Ford has now made 75% move. Now, obviously, if you are one of those person who continues to believe that stocks which hold up the well, which makes the biggest move, then you will not be convinced of any of these things. So but if you are one of those person who wants to make money and not believe something which is like not necessarily true, then you can find a lot of opportunities using momentum ranking basically. And way to use even TI65 is to focus on stocks, 100 stocks by TI65 ranking. And similarly, if you are looking for weaker stocks, always use like an TI65 to find the weakest stocks in the marketplace, right? So this is all in all, like this is how you can use momentum ranking. Now, what I showed you is just one of the ways of doing this. There are many ways in which you can create momentum ranking. You can create a momentum ranking based on offsetting momentum. You can create momentum ranking on stocks which are very low momentums 3 months ago and now has gained momentum. And you can create momentum ranking based on persistency of momentum, because momentum ranking suffers from a so one flaw, which is like if just you have 1 day gap which is like very big, your momentum ranking is still going to go up, but that is not true indicator of a momentum, because you cannot capture that kind of a momentum because the gap was so big kind of a thing. While persistency of momentum is really very important, and you can also develop momentum ranking based on persistency. Again, if you want to learn something about persistency of momentum, stay tuned. I'm going to have another video soon next week on persistency of momentum. And in the meanwhile, you can also go back and look at some video on persistent momentum, which I did some months ago.